What do you need to get back in order to start thinking about trading DK Metcalf? Well, Albert Breer, our buddy, was writing about this over the weekend, or over the last couple of days, and he uses what's called the Rich Hill trade value chart. You guys understand this whole chart system and how that works with the draft,
Just
how much
point
draft picks are worth?
based on picks, right? So
yeah.
The first-round pick is what?
This started
1,000 points or something?
Well, it's not just a first-round pick. I mean,
the number
one overall pick is worth 1,000.
Yeah.
It drops quickly. The number 2 pick is worth 717.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick is roughly like the number 14 pick. So if you have number 2 and you want to get to number 1, you better also get number 14. Like, that's the difference between the two. It's gigantic. And then it kind of goes down from there, and there's tiers, and it's worth looking at. It's a really good way of sort of understanding how much these picks are worth to the GMs. Anyway, most deals that get made are made, roughly in line with this chart. Some will be a little better, some will be a little worse, because maybe you want to do a third-round pick and you have, number 64 and not number 75 or whatever the case is. So the numbers will be a little off, but it'll give you a pretty good sense of range of value. Anyway, when you look at it, the total number of points that the last 2 wide receivers got was somewhere in the mid 300s, right? Between 350 and 365, somewhere in there. That's essentially what the Packers got back for Devontae Adams, and essentially what the Chiefs got back for Tyreek Hill. Maybe you could argue DK Metcalf is worth more than those two. He's younger, but I don't know that he's worth a lot more than them. In fact, I would argue he's probably worth the same amount, because he has not been as productive as either of those two guys have been, right? I mean, Devontae Adams has been arguably the best wide receiver in the game, and Tyreek Hill is probably the most explosive. So, yeah, is DK, let's say he's worth the same amount, just for the sake of the conversation, just because that's a comp that's there for us, okay? If you want to disagree with me, that's fine. You can text it in 206-421-3776. You can tell me why DK Metcalf's worth more than Russell Wilson if you want.
Well, we got a text from the 509 comparing the first 3 years of Devontae Adams versus 3 years of DK.
Yeah.
DK is better in his first 3 years than Devontae was.
Okay. So maybe he's worth slightly more, but I'm going to say they're worth around the same, and great. If he's worth a little more than that, okay. If he's worth the same, he's worth about the number 10 pick. By the way, the Jets are one of the teams that are out there actively looking for a wide receiver. How do I know this? They tried to get Tyreek Hill. Okay? So they are out there looking for a premier wide receiver.
Well, and I believe Joe Douglas said yesterday from the owners' meetings, like,
That's what they want.
If there's a receiver deal out there, we're in on it.
Good. All right. Well, if there's a receiver deal, maybe you've got it. They have the number 10 pick. You may be familiar with it. It used to be your pick, and you traded it as part of the Jamal Adams trade. But put that aside for a moment. They've got the number 10 pick. It's worth 369 points. What did I say DK was worth? Somewhere in the mid 300s. So would you trade DK Metcalf for the number 10 overall pick? You would have number 9 and number 10 this year. Anybody want to buy that? Anybody taking?
Just the number 10 alone, I don't.
Okay. What if you think he is worth a whole lot more? Okay, DK's worth more than those guys. You trade him for the number 4 pick?
Well, yes. I'm saying yes.
I think you might.
Yeah.
You trade DK Metcalf for the number 4 overall pick. It's only worth, a little over 100 points more than the number 10 pick.
Who has the number 4 pick?
The Jets.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I was bringing it up. Do the Jets trade you go back and forth? I would make an argument I would do it for the number 10 pick. And here's what I would then do with number 10. I'd trade it. I'd trade back with number 10. And if I'm looking to make a deal with that number 10 pick, it's worth roughly like this year's number 25 and a first-round pick next year. So what if you did all of that? And I'm not saying that specifically. I think the Bills have 25 this year, so it's not like they are specifically the team that would do it. But I'm just trying to give you the sense of what value you could get back for that. What if you were able to come up with this year 2 first-round picks, right? Number 9 and number 25, plus your 2 second-round picks would give you 4 picks in the first 2 rounds this year, and then you would have 3 number 1s next year and 2 number 2s. You would have 9 picks in the first 2 rounds in the next 2 years. Is that worth it to you?
That's with the scenario of trading the number 10.
Yeah, that's acquiring number 10 and then dealing it for picks.
Huge pile of picks.
It's a gigantic. That is fix your entire team level of picks, right? In the next 2 years, you would get 5 number 1 picks and 4 number 2s. And that's just if all you could get for DK was the number 10 pick. Maybe he's worth more than that. Maybe he is worth the number 4 pick, and you could get even more back for it or make that selection for some really, really high-end talent. Maybe you believe that that they should throw in a second rounder in order to make it worth it, and you can add a second-round pick to all that. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could play this, and I don't know exactly what DK Metcalf is worth. But that's one scenario that you could go through in order to acquire quite a bit. And by the way, if you do that, you're not going out and signing Baker Mayfield. You're not trading for Gardner Minshew. You're not trying to have the absolute best product you can this year. In all likelihood, you're going to start Drew Lock, Geno Smith, and whatever else you can find in the scrap heap. And your number 1 pick next year is probably a top 5 pick.